Nick, welcome. What's happening, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing?
How are you doing? Game week. It's finally here. Dirty Birds. Sunday. Couple of Heisman winners going toe to toe. How are we feeling, Nick?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, man. I'm excited to see it get going. Last week was a little bit tumultuous for the Saints, but they got things figured out. I think in that secondary they'll be okay with it. Bradley Roby, I think, is going to play well in the slot. Marcus Mariota, I don't think that's going to be an issue. So kind of getting through those hiccups after kind of a quiet, smooth summer. They eventually came, but yeah, I'm excited just to kind of get some of these answers that we've been, looking for and start to reach real conclusions and all that stuff. So yeah, it's finally here, man. It felt like a really slow build, but it's great. Sitting there Saturday, Sunday watching football, feeling like fall. It's the happiest time of the year for me.
Yeah, I mean, you were texting me about some LSU players maybe tipping coverages and having to get into the film, which, by the way, the film dropped today, so we'll finally get to start to break that down, Nick. I'm excited to dive in. Okay, I hate starting here, but I feel like I must. We haven't really talked about it beyond just the facts of what was alleged by both sides in terms of the Marcus May incident. Like, we just talked about the news. We have not offered opinions because how could we? We don't know what the deal is. What is the latest on Marcus May's situation?
So yeah, he's alleged of pulling a gun out on a car in traffic, a little road rage incident. I guess is kind of how they described it in the police report. And I shouldn't use the word little there because I mean that's a serious allegation. If what they're saying happened, obviously something that can't go on. As far as football is concerned, I don't think that's something that's going to immediately affect anything. I think it's going to be kind of like the Alvin situation where it has to go through the court proceedings, and then when there's a verdict, the league steps in. I believe the case for that, and I'm not positive on this, is also set for November. He has a DUI case also in November. So it doesn't seem like it's something that should affect anything right away. Again, though, the wild card here is video. Video comes out, the league sees it. If there's something in the video that they feel like they need to react against to protect the image and the sponsors and all that stuff, that's when they step in and they can have a suspension before a court case. So we'll see how it plays out. Look, I know some of the media companies down here have requested video. If video exists, nothing has come out yet. So, maybe it won't. We'll see how that kind of plays out. But that's the thing that I think the States need to worry about. But until that comes out, I think he's going to be on the field. He's going to play, and they're just going to, it's an allegation, and nobody really kind of acts until there's a conclusion on those situations.
Yeah.
Nick, let's talk about the opponent real quick. The Atlanta Falcons kind of hitting reset. I mean, Marcus Mariota at quarterback, not something that we thought, a year ago at this time that we would see him be a starter in the NFL, and certainly for the Falcons. I mean, even Drake London questionable for this game. Calvin Ridley suspended. We know that. Deion Jones on the IR. I mean, this is a team in the Atlanta Falcons that is completely starting over. But give us kind of the deep dive into the Falcons. Like, what players should the Saints fans pay attention to? Like, can the Falcons do anything in this game coming up this weekend to make Saints fans nervous?
So, yeah, I mean, I think they can do things that can make the Saints nervous because the one thing I think the Falcons are going to do, or the one thing that historically the Saints haven't done well on defense, and, it's defend against some of those read option runs.
Great point.
Yeah, you look at Philadelphia, those games, and the one thing I would kind of say is like you look at the Philly game, and I'm thinking like, well, okay, they probably spent all offseason thinking about this and figuring out a way to fix it. Well, the last time they played Philly before the last time, they probably spent the whole offseason thinking about it, and they couldn't fix it when they played Philly last year. So, maybe Hurts is a little bit more unique and slippery and all that stuff, but they got to be much more disciplined on defense. And the last time they played Philadelphia, I think Hurts had an 87-yard run, and Quan Alexander was in the wrong gap on it. So, like, Pete Werner being in there, like, he needs to be sound and make sure that he isn't giving up those types of plays. So, yeah, I think it's fascinating because, like, that is literally the one thing this defense that has been one of the best units in the league has not been able to figure out. And, I think it really just comes down to being assignment sound, having your eyes in the right place. The one thing that I think is beneficial is that, Mariota, I don't think he's hurt. I mean, and the other thing is I don't think the Falcons have the same level of weapons around to kind of make things difficult. So it's kind of like you can key in on Mariota you take away Kyle Pitts, and I think you can kind of, rely on the scheme for everything else to race. So I think the Saints should win this game, but there is this like little bit of a subplot that I think could make this game interesting and maybe just a little bit more difficult than it should be.
And I hope not, right? I mean, especially kind of stings a little bit last year when you look at like a loss to the Giants, some of these games that you need to win. A far cry from starting off with the Packers last year. We'll see that. What about on the injury front, Nick? James Hurst, Paulson Adebo, Mike Thomas, all going to be critical to the success of this team, all dealing with injuries. What's the latest?
James Hurst, he's going to play. He's healthy, practicing. Everything looks good there. That's big. They definitely need him. You don't want to find out, this early in the season if Landon Young is a good football player or not. So that's definitely huge for them. I think Adebo's going to play. We talked to him last week, and he kind of, he played it off with the day-to-day thing, but, he's smiling, and there's kind of like a tell in the body language as he's saying that. So kind of read between the lines there. I think he's going to play. Mike Thomas was in the locker room yesterday. We haven't seen him in the locker room since it opened up. So I think that's a good thing. He's walking through there. He was happy. He was dapping people up. It just he seemed to be in a good place. Just physically, mentally, nothing there that seemed alarming. So I think there's a chance. And DA kind of got asked yesterday about just the chemistry between him, Alvin, Jameson not playing really together all through the preseason and that. And like DA kind of answered it like, oh, we're gonna figure it out and they'll get out there and they'll be fine. Like he didn't like answer that by saying he's not gonna play. Now the question wasn't directly to that, but I thought that was kind of interesting too. So I think there's a chance, and everything I've been hearing is that he's on the right track. He's close. He's not going to be out too long. So I think there's a possibility that this week he could play.
All right, I'm going to ask you this, Nick. Is the worst investment in New Orleans buying a Mark Ingram jersey because he changes his number yet again?
Well, but no, we're back.
Right?
Well,
yeah, I mean, if you got the OG, but
yeah.
maybe you got a 14, maybe he had the single digit. Now he's back on 22. I mean, that investment, hopefully you held on to that stock.
Yeah, so 5, 14, 22, 28. There's a lot of different additions out there. I guess it's kind of cool. I guess that you can have like all these different Ingram jerseys.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Nathaniel Bush kind of going to Reggie Bush's number when he had to change his jersey so people could pull him back out. So. So someone else is going to have 5. He told us not to say who it is. If you look on the NFL shop store, you can see who it is. I kind of feel bad for Tyron because that's the number he wanted. And then he kind of locked in on 32 so people could get their jerseys early. And now the number you wanted all along is available. I don't think you can actually change to it. So, but it's marking 22 feels right though. Like everything else is like, it's weird. It's like, kind of like a reunion of a group, and it's 3 singers, and then like the 4th guy is somebody else that isn't supposed to be there. Like it's all the original members back together in 22. So it'll look a little bit better.
I agree. It immediately brings up memories of what was it, 18 when him and Kamara were so great together. 17 or 18, whatever. It was awesome. Nick, what do you feel most confidently about with this Saints team going into Sunday? And what concerns you the most?
Okay, so the thing I think I feel most confident about, it's a good question because I was going to go to the cornerbacks, but Adebo has the ankle thing. So, I mean, that's something that's got to get solved a little bit. The thing I think I feel most confident about beyond him is Alvin Kamara. Just like the summer he had just looked so good. And I think he's going to go out there. He's going to play really good. And, I think he's just in a good place mentally too. Like even with all the stuff going on, everything I keep hearing is about like his growth behind the scenes as a leader and kind of recognizing where this team's at in transition and kind of stepping up into those gaps. So it just feels like he's in a really, really good place to have a lot of success this season. The thing that I think concerns me the most, it has to be the safeties. I think they're going to ultimately still be like the strength of this team, but this is the first game. May and Matthew are playing together. May has stuff going on that could be diverting his attention a little bit. Maybe it's not, but it's at least fair to wonder if that's going to have any effect on him. And then taking CJ out of there, and replacing him with somebody else. It's just some transition there that might take a little bit of time to get used to. So I think that's the thing they gotta prove. But I think that becomes a strength fairly quickly. And then my other concern is just the Mariota, just kind of keeping them contained. Like, they got to show that they can do this. It's something that they haven't been able to do. Who was the quarterback last year? Felipe Franks. Like, the Falcons even brought him out and tried to take advantage of some of that stuff. So it's a known thing with this defense that teams kind of try a little bit. So I think Atlanta's going to try to figure out what time it is really early with it and see if they can stop it.
Outside of Demario Davis, Nick, what do you think happens at linebacker?
So I think Warner's going to be the will, and then I think when they go to base, and I don't think we'll see a lot of it. And even when they are in some of those looks, I think they're going to try to get the other linebacker out there and replace him with Justin Evans, PJ Williams, play the strength of those safeties. But when they go three linebackers, I think it's going to be Caden Ellis. They really, really like him, and they think he keeps showing growth. They're telling us he's getting better in space. Like, we kind of got to see him in some of those situations to see if the coverage actually is any better. But they're high on him, and they like the way he's progressing. But I think Pete Werner's kind of the X factor of the defense this year. Like, he was kept in that spot because they do believe he's more assignment sound, that he's not going to give up these 87-yard runs and all that stuff. Like, he needs to prove that he can stay healthy, A, and B, that he is that guy. Everything we've seen shows that he's that guy. He doesn't make those same kind of mistakes, but it's something that he's going to have to do consistently, because they put a really, really heavy bet on that by, kind of just putting all their faith in him and not bringing in another guy.
Nick Underhill at Nick_Underhill on Twitter. NewOrleans.football is the site. It is so good, dude. There's no better resource for staying on top of everything Saints. Nick is a beautiful mind film watcher as well, so you're going to want to be subbed for football season. Shout out, Nick. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, take it easy, guys.